it's Penny here, and today I'm going to be doing the Racing to Reading Reading Rush book tag. So this tag was made by Ariel and Raylene for people to do while they're doing the reading rush. I will leave all the details about that down below. But basically, there's a bunch of questions, and we'll use that to tell you about some books. All the prompts are based around racing. So firstly, we've got the warm-up, a book that stretches your mind. For this, I would have to go with this one. It says it's Arrival, but it's really Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. Just that this is a short story anthology, and one of the short stories was the inspiration for the movie Arrival. So this is the movie edition. But this book, the short stories were all amazing, but they definitely stretched my mind in that. For starters, I had to really think to understand them, especially there are a couple that just, I really had to think. But as well, they made me think about things in a different way. And I'm still thinking about the stories from this book. They're all quite inspired by science and maths, but they really look at the impact of those things on humanity. And so I think, even though I admit that sometimes these were a bit difficult to read, I think that you don't even necessarily need to understand them that well to get a lot of the message from them. Anyway, I loved this, so I definitely recommend it. Next we have the start line. What is a book you started but never finished? I don't have any of these physically because these ones I get rid of. Although there's not that many of them because I usually finish books, but there are a few. The one that I can think of is Arabian Nights, and it was a translation by some boring white dude, Sir somebody, I think, so I feel like it was an important translation, and I really wanted to read the Arabian Nights stories, but it was so hard to read. It was written in such an awful way, and I guess it's just a straight translation of the original text, but I don't want to read that. I want to know the stories, but I don't want to have to read that. So after putting it on my TBR for like 3 months and only getting like 2 chapters in, I gave up. Then we have Sprint. What is a book that you read really quickly? And for this, I've decided to go with Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. I don't have this because I did get it out of the library, but when I have the money to do so, I will definitely be buying my own copy because it's a really badass post-apocalyptic fantasy with this girl named Maggie who is a Native American, and she has these clan powers that make her really fast and really great at fighting, and she's fighting all these monsters and also dealing with all these different gods that are trying to manipulate her. And she is just so badass, and I love her so much. And the world is so cool, although obviously it's post-apocalyptic, so it's not a world I want to live in, although it has some similarities to our current world. But I mean, we haven't had the whole world flood yet, so let's hope that's not on the cards next for 2020. Next we have Marathon. What's your favorite long book? And I think for this I would definitely have to go with The Realm of the Elderlings. Now I only own one of these in physical copy. I got this one from the thrift shop for $2, and this is the first book in the second trilogy, but I've now read the first 3 trilogies, so that's 9 books, all at least this size. It's an amazing series with like lots of cool magic and just characters that you really grow to love. Such an epic fantasy. It's broken my heart a million times, and I absolutely love it. And luckily, I've still got another 4-book series and then another trilogy to read, so there's still so much more to this world that I can get through. So this series is definitely a marathon. Then we have The Finish Line, a book you were proud to finish. So this one that I'm going to show you, I haven't read yet. This one can stand in for the first 2 books in this series. So this is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson, the 3rd book in the Stormlight Archives. I'm going to be picking it up soon. It's like 1,200 pages. The first 2 books, The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, I think are not quite as big as this, but they're pretty close. It's another amazing epic fantasy with like magic swords and other complex magic systems, people with all these different magical abilities, this big war, lots of diverse characters, lots of mysteries, lots of mind-blowing moments. I'm really loving it, and even though I'm like totally afraid of trying to get through this, I also know that when I finish it I'm going to be really proud, because I was definitely proud when I read the first 2 books and got through those. But I mean, luckily, Brandon Sanderson is a really good writer, and these books are so interesting that it isn't actually as hard as you might think to get through all of this. Then we have Hurdles. What's a book that has ups and downs? Now, I thought a lot about this, and really the Realm of the Elderlings would have been a good option, but I already used that. And I came up with what I think is a much better option, and that is Everybody's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Jimmy Sin. So this book is just a cute graphic novel. It's kind of incredibly heartwarming. It's about this alien who comes to Earth to try to find out about humans, but he doesn't really know what humans are, and so he just starts talking to trees and animals and trying to work out if they're humans. And it's so super cute, but it also gets really dark in some bits. I think it's just really honest about what it is to be human, which is such a weird thing to say about a weird little book about this weird little alien. And it's been a while since I saw anyone talking about this book, but if you haven't picked it up, I really do recommend it. It's also a really quick read, so it would have been perfect for the reading rush. Then we have Gold Medal. Best book you've read during a readathon. So recently I did Becca's Bookopoly 48-hour readathon, and during that readathon I read This Is How You Lose the Time War, and it's 100% a 5-star book for me. I really loved it. It's about this time war where there are these two opposing factions trying to go back in time and change the timelines to make their timeline more likely to occur. And we've got these two agents on either side, and they start passing letters to each other and eventually build a relationship. And the writing is just so beautiful. I really wish that I had a pen pal who would write beautiful letters to me like this, but especially a pen pal who would somehow hide those letters into the fabric of existence. Like, even just the way that they're passing letters between each other are so creative. And as well, this was a really short book, so it was perfect for a readathon. Then lastly, we have the Participation Ribbon, an underrated book you wish got more attention. So for this, I'm going to actually say 2 books, but they're by the same author. So I'm going to say Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groudon, as well as Invictus by Ryan Groudon. So Wolf by Wolf is set in an alternate history where the Nazis won the war, and we're following this girl who's entering this motorcycle race because the winner of the motorcycle race is going to get to meet Hitler, and she wants to kill him. But also, she's a shapeshifter, so she can take on the faces of different people. And honestly, this book was great, especially the ending. So it is part of a duology, and I do admit that the second book wasn't quite as good, but it was still good, and I really do recommend this duology for sure. As well, this other one is Invictus. Now, I know some people didn't like this, and I can see how going into this, you think it's a time travel story, so you may be expecting something a little bit darker, whereas actually this is just like a really fun time travel story. It's set in a world where time travel is commonplace, but it's very regulated because they don't want people going back in time and changing things and ruining the current time. But we follow this crew who actually go back in time, steal artifacts from history before they're about to go missing, and then bring them forward and sell them for a profit. But along the way, they come across something perhaps being wrong with the universe, and they have to try and fix that. But mostly it's just about this crew having a great time together and solving the mystery together. I know I saw Ryan Groudon once compare this to Firefly, and I don't think that's too far off. So I know a while ago I was seeing people talk about these, but I haven't seen many people talk about them recently, and I think that they deserve more attention. So that's the tag. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I talked about today, because I would love to talk with you more about them down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, especially, I think I'll put this out just a few days before the end of the reading rush, so I hope the reading rush is going well for you. I hope you're reading lots of good books, and I will see you next time.